I want to start with you, Mike, and then Cerrone. What are your expectations for Victor Wembanyama, and what did you see last night?
He's going to be a really good player. I think he's going to be a phenomenal player once he develops. I would like to see a little bit more girth on that frame because he's getting knocked out from in the post and he's becoming more of a perimeter player. But it's obvious, man, he is must-see TV. He is every bit of the unicorn that everybody's talking about that he is. To see somebody 7'4" with those handles and that stroke and that touch to knock down those threes has been unbelievable. I wish I would have seen a little bit more of him, obviously, because he was in foul trouble, but he picked it up. And that's why I said it's not when, but when. And if you can pick it up in the fourth quarter when the game is on the line like he did last night and scored 9 of his 15 points then, that shows me a lot and tells me a lot about him. But I would like to see him get more touches. I'd like to see him stay out of foul trouble and put more weight on. But I think this kid's going to be everything that we expect. And it's kind of eerie that if you look at his stat sheet in his first ever game with the Spurs, it is the same exact stats that Tim Duncan had in his first game with the Spurs as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's a phenomenal talent, young kid, but very thin, but there's not a lot of big guys in the NBA anymore. Well, I think the center position is kind of coming back. But the only complaint I would have with him, there's not many at all. The kid's, 7'4", whatever it is. I seen a video of him on Instagram yesterday. We basically was touching the rim without jumping. And last night, I say 80, 90% of his shots were threes. He wasn't taking anything on the inside, or she shot a couple fadeaways late, and they were air balls. And he had somebody like Grant Williams on him who's a foot shorter than he is. And I want to see him. I know the three-point game, he can hit that. But I think for him to become the greatest prospect we've seen in the draft, be better than Dave Robinson, Tim Duncan, LeBron James, if he uses his size to his advantage and gets in the paint, there's nobody stopping this kid from getting 40 a night if he wanted to. And I want the three to be a complement to his game, not his key game, because I think it takes the defense off the hook. It's like, well, if we want a three-point shooter, the defense is like, yes, shoot as many threes as you want, but they can't stop him in the paint. But I think when he gets a little weight on him and he understands that, he's going to be unstoppable down there on that block if he's determined to stay on that low block.
You know, it's such a great point, Cerrone. I want to ask you both about this, though. It's a great point, but I was watching this Celtics-Knicks game last night, and you know, it was almost like a clash between old school NBA and new school NBA. So the Celtics were doing all the old school NBA things. They were dominating in the paint, like points in the paint. They doubled the Knicks up easily, probably even more than that. They were going to the paint. The Knicks for a while had no block shots. Celtics had block shots. So all our 1980s NBA fans, like, that's what I'm talking about. That's when basketball was basketball. That's how you're supposed to play. Big men, go in there, show them what it's about, post up. And the Knicks were hanging around by shooting threes. They're shooting threes. And the coach at the center of it all, Joe Mazzulla, is caught between both worlds. Because his team is playing the old school way, but every part of his being wants to play the new school way. He don't want to play that way. He wants his team to take 53s a game. So I wonder, Mike and Cerrone, if that's even something, that ask that you have, Cerrone, I wonder if that's realistic for today's players, because today's players are going to shoot threes. That's what they're going to do. And a lot of today's coaches are going to demand that they shoot more threes, because, you know, those big men who don't shoot threes, they tend to become extinct. Come on out the game. You can't help me. If you ain't going to shoot a three.
Well,
come on out.
I would say this, though, like what I was saying about Wemby. Look at Jokic. Jokic can shoot the three as good as anybody in the NBA, but he's dominant when he's on the low block, and he knows that. I'll eat you up from down here. I can pass it from here. I can see over my defenders. I can get an easy jump hook, and I can offensive rebound for my team. So being able to shoot threes is good when it's a compliment, but if it's the only thing you do, if it's the majority of thing you do, you kind of make yourself, you know, like, for example, Karl Anthony Towns is a 40% three-point shooter. The difference between him and Embiid plays mostly down the paint. He shoots too many threes.
Yes.
If he just stayed down there and be physical, he'd be winning more games. But look at your MVPs, Jokic, Giannis, Embiid. Look at the number one pick, Wemby. The Celtics, the reason we think they're going to be a dominant team is because they added a 7-footer that can do both. I think the game is going back to that. And if you want to beat these top teams, you better find you a way to score in the paint and score in the block, because everybody's not the Golden State Warriors, even though they're all trying to be.
Yeah, you got to be versatile, man. I think if you're big like that, especially for a guy like Wemby, and they had him playing at the 4 last night. So I think if you want to have him out there for your advantage, play him at the 5 so you can bring the other team's opposing center out. So, of course, if they got a shot blocker, he can take him out and he can go one-on-one with him if you can take him into the paint. But like you said, I think Wemby needs to gain a little bit more weight. I think he's being pushed out a little bit more. And you're right. Like, you got coaches like Darvin Ham telling Anthony Davis to shoot 6 threes a game, where Anthony Davis is not shot more than 33% in the game. I think my thing with Anthony Davis, I think the reason he did that is because maybe he wants him to shoot more corner threes, because that's closer to the bench, because that's where Anthony is used to being in street clothes, and he wants to make him feel as comfortable.
Oh, see, you're wrong. See, you're wrong.
I'm sorry.
Hey,
he didn't show up in the second half. I'm sorry, dog.
hey, Cerrone, it's only appropriate that we got to run. We got to go quickly, because we got the fastest man, one of the fastest men in the National Football League coming up.
Yeah.
Raheem Mostert is going to come on
Raheem.
quickly. Is going to talk to us. So, Cerrone, hell of a debut, man. Hell of a debut.
Thank you.
I'll give you
Thanks for having me, guys.
You pretty much, was it a triple-double? Did you get a triple-double? Or triple-double next time?
That's the round. We got a triple-double.
Thanks again.
Cerrone Battle, y'all.
Yep.
Thank you.
One of my favorite Yankees names, Rick Cerrone. Remember Rick Cerrone? Former catcher.
Rick Cerrone. Remember Rick Cerrone?
Cerrone. Number 10. Had a curly afro.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.